Hey guys, so today we're gonna talk about the Poco X7 that you can already get for the low price of just 300 euros. Now this one is available in a few different colors. Now right here I got the green version, but you can also get it in the colors of silver and black. So today we will test everything this phone has to offer, but first up, the unboxing. As you can see, we get that normal Poco box with its black and yellow design, and the first thing that we will see is the smartphone itself. Unlike with the Poco X7 Pro, there's no extra Iron Man edition that you can get. Now further down you will find some of the paper stuff. There is the SIM pin and a slick matte black silicone case and a USB Type-C charging cable, but no extra charging adapter. Now as for the specs and the design, right here we have a smartphone with a 6.67-inch display that weighs in at around 185 grams. We got Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front and a normal plastic frame and backside. The black and yellow version has a vegan leather backside. This one has a triple cam setup which sits on an extra element which has the same color as the rest of the smartphone, and now since these elements sit right in the middle of the phone, it doesn't even wiggle around if you put it flat on the backside. Now one thing that I did notice is that you will see a lot of your fingerprints on this phone. It's just the way it is. You have this problem with a lot of smartphones. So on the backside you actually have one big stripe with the Poco logo right in the middle, which has this cool line pattern, and on the left and right side of it you have some plain green polished stripes. The back and the front slightly tilt towards the frame, and like with the Poco X7 Pro, this one is IP68 water and dust resistant. As for the display and the audio, you got a 6.67-inch AMOLED display with a Dolby Vision, you got HDR10 and a peak brightness of 3000 nits, which is almost as good as the Pro version of the smartphone. You have a 120Hz display refresh rate, which you can trim down to 60Hz, and a screen to battery ratio of 89%. This phone has a resolution of 1220 by 2712 pixel, and watching movies on this phone is no problem, even in direct sunlight. The colors look nice, you have great contrast, and there's just nothing bad that you can say about the display. You will also get a few extra display features, like you get an always on display mode, you can change the color scheme, and you have a reading mode as well. In your wallpaper tab you can also change the lock style. There are dozens of different styles which you can then customize as well. On the Poco X7 you will get a stereo speaker setup which gets pretty loud, and the sound quality is good as well. You have Dolby Atmos support, or you can also switch over to the Xiaomi sound effects, and of course there is an equalizer as well. So as for the battery life, with the Poco X7 you will get a big 5110 mAh battery, which is slightly smaller than the one that you got on the Poco X7 Pro, but still pretty good. You have 45 watts turbocharging, which charges your phone from 0 to 100% in just 50 minutes. Overall, this phone lasts pretty long. On my test, I got about 12 hours on continuous video streaming, and you can play games non-stop for about 7 hours. You just have to know that you have no wireless and no reverse wireless charging. By the way, if you like my video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. You will also find the link to the smartphone down below in the description. Now let's get over to some of the features and HyperOS. Unlike with the Poco X7 Pro, which runs on HyperOS 2, this one right here runs on the normal HyperOS based on Android 14. So you can get this phone in two different versions. Now there's this version with 256 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM, and there is a 512 gig version with 12 gigs of RAM. Now if you take a peek into the storage settings, you will see that about 27 gigs are already used up by the system, which is quite a lot. Now one of the main differences to the Poco X7 Pro is that you don't have all of these AI tools, but according to the Xiaomi website, you should have the AI tools on your gallery, like the AI eraser tool, AI film and AI image expansion, but at least right now as I'm making this video, these features are not available here in Germany. But something that you can do is to open up Google Photos, and over here you can download the Magic Eraser tool, which is basically doing the same thing. On this phone I also noticed that you have a whole lot of pre-installed games and other apps which zap a lot of your storage, but you can just quickly deinstall them with one single tap. In your notifications and status bar settings, you can customize your status bar and change the battery status, you can add the connection speed, and you can also hide your selfie camera with a small black bar. You have your normal fingerprint sensor underneath the display, and you also have different fingerprint animations like this neon style, starlight or iris. Then you have a face detection as well, and both work just fine even if you have some wet or greasy fingers. Of course, you will also find some of the normal features on here, like you got some gesture controls. You can take a screenshot by sliding your 3 fingers down your display, or you can turn on the torch by double pressing the power button. And then you also have stuff like a one-handed mode, there are some floating windows, there's a second space, and a heart rate monitor, even though I don't think that this one is that accurate. Now let's get over to the performance and the gaming. Now the Poco X7 runs on a MediaTek Dimensity 7300 Ultra with either 8 or 12 gigs of RAM. It is doing a good job on your daily use, and even gaming is alright. I play games like Genshin Impact and you will have a frame rate of about 40 to 60 frames. It really just depends on what you're doing. If you just walk around, you get about 60 to 70 FPS, and during fights it can drop down to about 40, but it's still great in my opinion. Then you will also have a Game Turbo with a balance and a wild mode for a better gaming experience. You can open up apps while you're playing your games, and you can enable the D&D mode, screen record, you can take screenshots, adjust the brightness, and a few more things. Certainly not as many options as with the Pro model or other gaming smartphones, but more than good enough for the casual smartphone gamer. Lastly, we got the camera. So this smartphone has a triple cam setup with a 50 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization. There's an 8 megapixel ultra wide and a 2 megapixel macro camera. The main camera can shoot videos in 4K resolution and 30 FPS, whereas the front camera can only shoot videos in 1080p and 60 FPS. This phone also has a few camera modes like the normal portrait mode with a bit of a zoom option, and you can also change the depth of field. There's a night and a pro mode, slow motion, dual video, and you can even enable the AI camera, which can help you to take some better pictures. The main camera saves 12.5 megapixel photos due to pixel blending, and they are decent for the class. The detail level is average, the processing is far from natural looking, the colors are pretty saturated, but at least the contrast is good. The dynamic range is wide too. The ultra wide angle camera takes 8 megapixel photos, which are okay. They are average in detail and have oversaturated colors, and the contrast is okay. Close-ups taken with the 2 megapixel macro camera are not great. They are desaturated looking with poor detail, and they are often noisy. This phone has a 20 megapixel selfie camera, and selfies have just average detail levels and overall soft looks. The color accuracy and dynamic range are decent.